The fork clattered against the porcelain plate like a gunshot in the stuffy dining room of the old Craftsman house in suburban Chicago, where the scent of overcooked pot roast still lingered like a bad memory. Jesus, Carter, when are you gonna man up and bring home a girl who doesn't look like she crawled out of a dive bar in Wrigleyville? His father, Harlan, barked, his voice thick with bourbon and the kind of Midwestern machismo that had built railroads and broken unions. Carter's heart slammed against his ribs as every eye at the Thanksgiving table, cousins, aunts, his sister biting her lip, swiveled to him, the unspoken weight of faggot hanging in the air like the steam from the mashed potatoes. But it was Liam's hand, warm and steady under the tablecloth, squeezing his thigh that kept Carter from bolting, a silent promise that said, "We're in this shit together, babe." That squeeze was their code, forged in the sticky summer nights of their first year together, when Liam had driven them out to Lake Michigan in his beat-up Ford pickup, the radio blasting Springsteen as they parked on a deserted bluff overlooking the dark waves crashing like unspoken regrets. Carter had been 22 then, fresh out of Northwestern with a useless degree in graphic design and a resume full of freelance gigs that barely covered his half of the rent on their cramped Logan Square apartment. Liam, 3 years older and world steadier, was the bartender at that hole-in-the-wall on Belmont Avenue, the one with the neon sign that buzzed like a hangover. He'd spotted Carter nursing a gin and tonic at the end of the bar, sketching logos on a napkin, eyes shadowed from another fight with Harlan over the phone. "When you gonna get a real job, son? Quit doodlin' like some pansy artist." "You look like you could use a refill," Liam had said, sliding onto the stool next to him without asking, his voice carrying that easy Ohio drawl that made everything sound like a half-joke. Carter had glanced up, caught off guard by the green eyes crinkled with mischief, the faint scar above Liam's left eyebrow from a bar fight he never talked about. Or maybe just someone to listen to you bitch about your asshole dad. It had been that simple, that terrifying. Liam seeing right through the armor Carter had welded on since high school, when the whispers in the locker room after gym class had turned into shoved shoulders and slurs scrawled on his gym bag. By closing time, they'd stumbled out into the rain-slicked streets, Liam's leather jacket over Carter's shoulders, and kissed against the brick wall of the alley, tasting like whiskey and possibility. Now, 3 years later, that possibility had hardened into something real, fragile as the snowflakes starting to dust the windows of Harlan's house. Carter forced a laugh at the table, the kind that scraped his throat raw. "Dad, maybe if you laid off the Fox News, you'd see I'm doing just fine." Liam hears more than enough trouble. He shot Liam a wink, but his boyfriend's smile was tight, forced, like he was chewing on glass. Harlan snorted, wiping gravy from his mustache with the back of his hand. "Trouble? Boy, that's what you call playing house with some guy who slings drinks for a living? Your ma, God rest her, woulda wanted grandkids, not whatever this is." The table fell silent again, forks scraping like accusations. Carter's Aunt Muriel cleared her throat, murmuring something about pie, but the damage was done, a fresh scar on the old wounds. Later, as the family dispersed to the den for football, Bears versus Packers, the eternal grudge match, Carter slipped out to the back porch, the November chill biting through his sweater like judgment. Liam followed, wordless, wrapping his arms around Carter from behind, chin resting on his shoulder. The yard stretched out under strings of Christmas lights Harlan had hung early, as if normalcy could be strung up like bulbs. "He's never gonna get it," Carter muttered, voice cracking. "Says he loves me, but it's like loving a stray dog you wish was a Labrador instead of a mutt." Liam's breath was warm against his neck. Then fuck him. We got our own pack. He turned Carter gently, their foreheads touching, and for a moment, the world narrowed to the faint stubble on Liam's jaw. The way his thumbs traced circles on Carter's hips. Circles that had mapped every inch of him in the dark, turning doubt into devotion. But devotion has its cracks, and Liam's phone buzzed in his pocket like a warning. He pulled away to check it, his face flickering in the porch light. Just work, he said too quickly, shoving it back. Carter nodded, but the seed was planted, that flicker of secrecy. The same one that had haunted their early days when Liam dodged questions about his family back in Dayton, or why he never posted couple pics on Instagram. They made love that night in the guest room, slow and desperate, Carter's nails digging into Liam's back as if to anchor him, to say don't you dare leave me here alone. Liam whispered promises into his skin. Forever, Car. I swear. But in the morning, over black coffee in the kitchen, Harlan cornered them again. You two headin' back to the city today? Good. This house ain't built for experiments. Liam's jaw clenched, but Carter just grabbed their bags, the videotape he'd found in the attic the night before burning a hole in his mind. It had been an accident. Really? Rifling through boxes of his mom's old junk while everyone slept, looking for a photo album to remind himself of softer times. Instead, he'd unearthed a dusty VHS labeled SF-88 in Harlan's scrawled handwriting, tucked behind tax returns and faded Cubs tickets. Curiosity had won. He'd snuck it into the ancient player in the basement den, the tape whirring to life with static, and then color. Parades. Crowds. And there, in the grainy footage, a younger Harlan, lean, laughing, arms slung around a man with sun-bleached hair, both of them waving rainbow flags amid the Castro Street chaos. Carter's stomach had dropped like he'd been sucker-punched. His dad? Pride? The man who'd voted Reagan twice and called AIDS a fairy plague at every family barbecue? He hadn't watched the whole thing. Couldn't. But the image seared into him, a betrayal of everything Harlan preached. Back in the city, their apartment felt like a bunker, walls papered in Carter sketches and Liam's Polaroids of road trips to the dunes. They crashed on the couch with takeout Thai, Liam's head in Carter's lap as some Netflix rom-com droned on. You okay? Liam asked, fingers lacing through his. Carter hesitated, the tape still in his bag like contraband. Yeah. Just, Dad's full of shit. You know? Always has been. Liam's eyes searched his, that green depth pulling Carter under. Then let's make our own shit. Move in fully. Ditch the half-assed lease. It was a proposal wrapped in flannel, and Carter's yes was a kiss that tasted like pad CEW and hope. But as they tangled in sheets that night, Liam's phone lit up again. Unknown number. And he silenced it with a curse, rolling over like it was nothing. Weeks blurred into the gray slog of winter, Carter landing a gig designing logos for a queer-owned coffee shop in Andersonville, Liam picking up shifts at a fancier spot in River North. Their love was the steady pulse beneath it all. Lazy Sundays at Montrose Beach, even in the cold, bundled in hoodies, sharing blunts and stories. Carter's about the time he came out to his mom in the hospital, her frail hand squeezing his with a whispered, "Be brave, baby." Liam's about foster homes and the brother he lost to opioids. "You're my home now," Liam said one night, tracing the tattoo on Carter's collarbone, a small rainbow arrow, inked on their anniversary. Felt true, unbreakable. Until the family Christmas party at Harlan's, that sprawling affair with catered brisket and a tree strung with ornaments from the 70s. Carter had stashed the tape in his coat pocket, steeling himself to confront his dad in private. What the hell were you hiding? But fate, or booze, intervened. Harlan, 3 whiskeys deep, held court in the living room, regaling the relatives with tales of the good old days. Then his eyes landed on Carter and Liam, cozied on the love seat, Liam's arm casual around Carter's shoulders. Speak of the devil, Harlan boomed, voice carrying over Bing Crosby crooning on the stereo. My boys still chasin' tail that don't wag right. When you gonna settle down, son? Find a nice girl. Give me some grandbabies before I kick the bucket. The room tittered, awkward laughs rippling like aftershocks. Carter's face burned, the tape heavy as lead. Liam stiffened beside him, but before Carter could snap back, his cousin Jenna, tipsy and tech-savvy, waved her phone. Hey, Uncle Harlan, remember that old camcorder footage you digitized last summer? The Pride stuff? I think it's on the family Dropbox. Harlan's laugh died mid-bark. What? Nah, that's just old home movies. But Jenna, oblivious, pulled it up on the big screen TV, the remote clicking like a loaded chamber. The footage bloomed. San Francisco, 1988. Sunlight glinting off cable cars as throngs marched down Market Street. And there was Harlan, 25 and wild-haired, shirtless in cutoffs, locked in an embrace with that same blonde man. Their kiss fierce and unapologetic amid the chants of "We're here, we're queer." Gasps rippled through the room, aunts clutching pearls, uncles shifting uncomfortably. Harlan's face drained of color, his tumbler slipping from numb fingers to shatter on the hardwood. Turn it off, he rasped, but it was too late. The video looped, Harlan's younger self shouting "Love wins" into a bullhorn, the irony a knife twist. Carter stood, the room spinning, betrayal crashing over him like Lake Michigan waves. Not just his dad's hypocrisy, but the deeper cut, Liam, rising now, face ashen, because he knew. Babe, Liam started, but Carter cut him off, voice a whip crack. You digitized it? With her? When? Jenna's eyes widened. Liam helped me last month. He said it was just organizing family history. Liam's mouth opened, closed, the truth spilling out in fragments. He'd found the files while crashing at Harlan's after a fight. Their fight, the one where Carter accused him of pulling away, and in a drunken haze, helped Jenna upload them, thinking it could soften Harlan toward them. I was trying to help, to show him we could bridge it. Bridge it? The word tasted like ash. Carter stormed out into the snow-dusted driveway, the cold searing his lungs, Liam's pleas chasing him like ghosts. It was for us, to make him see you, see us, the way I do, but the betrayal stung deeper than Harlan's barbs. Liam, his rock, meddling in the wreckage of Carter's past without a word, turning a private pain into public spectacle. Inside, Harlan slumped against the wall, the party fracturing around him, cousins whispering, aunts fleeing to the kitchen. For the first time, the patriarch looked small, broken, the mask of tough love dad crumbling to reveal the scared kid who'd buried his own truth under decades of denial. Carter drove through the night, Chicago's lights blurring into streaks, ending up at their spot on the lake bluff. The wind howled off the water, whipping snow into his eyes as he sat on the hood of the car, the engine ticking cool. Hours later, headlights pierced the dark, Liam's truck, pulling up with a crunch of gravel. He didn't speak at first, just slid beside Carter, their shoulders touching like old times. I fucked up, Liam said finally, voice raw. Big time. Thought I was being the hero, fixing what I couldn't fix in my own family. But I should have told you. Should have trusted you to handle your own ghosts. Carter stared at the black expanse of water, waves gnashing like teeth. And Dad? What about his ghost? Liam sighed, pulling out a flask, Jack Daniels, their emergency ritual. Called him on the way. He's a mess. Said he ran from it all after your mom got sick. Thought burying it would keep you safe from the same bullshit. But mocking you? That was him hating the mirror. A sip burned down Carter's throat, warming the ache. Doesn't excuse it. Or you. No, Liam agreed, turning to face him, snowflakes catching in his lashes. But it doesn't end us. I love you, Carter, the messy, sketching, stubborn parts. The parts that make me want to build a life, not just crash through one. His hand found Carter's, tentative, and when Carter didn't pull away, Liam leaned in, their kiss tasting of whiskey and salt, forgiveness flickering like the first dawn light on the horizon. Dawn broke over Lake Michigan like a reluctant apology, painting the sky in bruised purples and golds as Carter and Liam drove back to the city in silence, the truck's heater blasting against the chill that had settled between them. Carter's mind replayed the video on loop. His dad's lips on that stranger's, the crowd's roar a distant echo of the one now raging in his chest. Betrayal wasn't just Harlan's hidden life or Liam's well-intentioned sabotage. It was the realization that love, for all its anchors, could drag you under if you weren't careful. By the time they pulled into Logan Square, the streets were stirring with early dog walkers and coffee runs, the neighborhood's queer heartbeat pulsing through rainbow crosswalk murals, and the faint thump of indie rock from upstairs lofts. Inside their apartment, the air smelled of yesterday's takeout and the lavender candle Liam lit for bad vibe purges. Carter dropped his keys on the counter, the clink echoing too loud. We need to talk about this. All of it. Liam nodded, shrugging off his coat, revealing the faded Arcade Fire tee that always made Carter's heart hitch. They sank onto the couch, knees touching, the space between them a minefield. Start with you, Carter said. Why hide the phone calls? The secrets? Liam rubbed his neck, that telltale flush creeping up. It's stupid. My ex, Mark, from back in Ohio. He's been blowing up my lines since summer, saying he found God or some AA bullshit. Wants to make amends. I didn't tell you cause I didn't want you thinking I was hung up. But he's persistent. Shows up in voicemails talking about how we were mistaken together. Carter's gut twisted. Mark, the ghost Liam had exorcised years ago, or so he'd sworn. And you listened? Why? 'Cause part of me wondered if Dad was right, Liam admitted, eyes dropping to the frayed rug. If I'm just trouble, like he says, dragging you down with my baggage. The vulnerability hit Carter like a sucker punch. This was Liam unarmored, the man who'd once bench-pressed him in their kitchen just to make him laugh, now fraying at the edges. You're not trouble, Carter said fiercely, cupping Liam's face. You're my goddamn lifeline. Their foreheads met again, breaths mingling, and when Liam's lips brushed his, tentative, seeking, Carter pulled him closer, the kiss deepening into something raw, reclaiming. Hands roamed, shirts discarded, bodies colliding on the couch in a tangle of need and absolution. It wasn't gentle. It was a storm, nails raking backs, gasps swallowed whole, until they lay spent, sweat slick and tangled, the world outside forgotten. But the calm was temporary. Carter's phone buzzed mid-afternoon. A text from his sister. Ellie, Dad's spiraling. Come over, please. The drive to Harlan's felt like crossing state lines into enemy territory. Liam behind the wheel, radio tuned low to some NPR segment on queer history that felt like cosmic irony. The house loomed under a low gray sky, Christmas lights twinkling mockingly against the fresh snow. Ellie met them at the door, her eyes red-rimmed, hugging Carter tight. He's in the den. Won't talk to anyone. Jenna feels awful. Says she had no idea. Harlan sat in his recliner like a deposed king, staring at the blank TV screen, a half-empty bottle of Maker's Mark on the side table. The room smelled of stale smoke and regret, family photos on the mantel staring down like witnesses. Carter cleared his throat, the tape now in his hand like Exhibit A. Dad. Harlan's head jerked up, eyes bloodshot, the lines on his face etched deeper. Get out, he growled, but there was no fire, just ash. Liam hung back by the door, silent sentinel. No, Carter said, stepping forward, voice steady despite the quake in his chest. We're doing this. Now. He slotted the VHS into the player old school, defiant, and hit play. The parade flickered to life again, Harlan's younger self beaming, alive in a way the man before him hadn't been in years. Who was he? Carter asked softly, when the kiss looped. Harlan's swallow was audible. Tommy. Met him in Nam 68, some godforsaken firebase. He was the medic, patched me up after a mortar round. We found each other in the jungle, you know? Stolen nights, whispers. Thought it was the war, temporary madness. The story unspooled haltingly, bourbon loosening the knots. Back stateside, Tommy and Harlan chased the dream to San Francisco, diving into the Castro's underground scene, leather bars, poetry slams, the electric hum of a revolution. That 88 pride was their peak. Tommy's hand in his as they marched, shouting down the fear. But then AIDS hit like a freight train. Tommy diagnosed in 89, wasting away by 91. Harlan buried him in a pauper's grave upstate, then ran back to Chicago, to Ellen, a good Catholic girl, who became Carter's mom. The family man facade his armor against grief. I couldn't lose you too, Harlan whispered, tears carving tracks through stubble. So I built walls. Called it love. Mocked you to keep you from the pain I knew. Carter's throat tightened, the pieces slotting cruelly. All those slurs, the toughen-up lectures, born not of hate but hollow survival. You could have told me, he said, sinking to the floor beside the chair. After Mom died. We could have. Harlan reached out, hand trembling, gripping Carter's shoulder, the first real touch in years that didn't feel like a correction. I was a coward, son. Still am. Liam shifted then, stepping into the light. We're all cowards sometimes, Mr. Riley. But hiding, that just starves everyone. Harlan looked at him, really looked. For the first time, no sneer, just weary recognition. You love him. Liam's nod was immediate. More than air. A beat. Then Harlan's gruff. Treat him right, or I'll kick your ass myself. It was a truce, fragile as new ice. But as they left, Ellie hugging them both, promising turkey leftovers, Carter felt the weight lift. Just a fraction. Back home, they cooked dinner together, Liam chopping onions while Carter stirred risotto, the kitchen filling with garlic and laughter. Think he'll come around? Liam asked, bumping hips. Carter shrugged, tasting the sauce. Maybe. But we don't wait on him anymore. That night, lovemaking was slower, exploratory, fingers mapping scars, mouths lingering on pulse points, a reaffirmation that bodies could heal what words couldn't. Yet, as Liam slept, Carter stared at the ceiling, Mark's shadow lingering. Trust, once cracked, didn't mend overnight. Spring crept in with tentative blooms, cherry blossoms dusting Wicker Park like confetti from that long-ago parade. Carter's career ticked up, a commission for a mural at the coffee shop, vibrant abstracts of intertwined figures that drew crowds and whispers of, "Is that you and your guy?" Liam, meanwhile, started bartending classes at Second City, dreaming of owning a spot that mixed craft cocktails with open mics for queer poets. Their life wove tighter, weekend hikes in Starved Rock, where they'd fuck under waterfalls, water cascading like release, quiet evenings on the fire escape, sharing joints and playlists, pavement to perfume genius. Harlan called sporadically, stilted at first, then warmer. "Saw your mural in the paper," he'd grunt. "Looks artsy, progress." But the real test came in May, when Ellie announced her wedding small, backyard affair in the Riley yard. "Dad wants you there," she texted Carter. With Liam as dates. It was an olive branch, wrapped in tulle. They arrived under a sky heavy with thunderheads, the air buzzing with kinfolk and kegs. Harlan clapped Carter on the back. Awkward, but genuine, muttering, "Proud of you, kid." Liam hovered, charming aunts with bar stories, but Carter caught the glances. Uncle Ray's side eye, cousins' pitying smiles. The ceremony was sweet, Ellie radiant in thrift store lace, vows exchanged under the old oak. But as dusk fell and the band struck up at last, disaster brewed. Mark appeared like a bad sequel, tall, hollow-cheeked from rehab, cornering Liam by the cooler. Carter spotted them from across the lawn, Mark's hand on Liam's arm, words urgent and low. Jealousy flared, hot and irrational, propelling him over. "Everything good here?" he asked, voice edged. Mark turned, eyes glassy with fanatic gleam. "Just saving your boy's soul, brother. He needs to hear the truth." "Truth," Liam snapped, shrugging him off. "The truth is I chose this." Chose him, but Mark wasn't done. Voice rising. "You think this fairy's gonna last? I know you, Lee, deep down. You're like me. Redeemable." The slur landed like a slap, heads turning. Harlan, mid-beer, froze. Carter's fists clenched, but Liam stepped up, chest out. "Get the fuck out, Mark. Before I make you." Security, Ellie's fiancé's cop buddy, hauled him away, but the damage rippled, whispers turning to stares. In the aftermath, Harlan pulled Liam aside, out by the garage where fireflies danced. Carter watched from the porch, heart pounding. Minutes later, they emerged, Harlan clapping Liam's shoulder. A nod exchanged. "He said your family now," Harlan told Carter later, over pie in the kitchen. "And that if I don't wise up, I'm the one missing out." Tears pricked Carter's eyes, his dad, defending his love. But as the night wound down, Liam's phone buzzed again. Not Mark, but a lawyer. Tommy's estate, unclaimed since '91, finally surfaced through Jenna's digging. A letter, a photo, a plea for closure Harlan had ignored for decades. That night, back in the city, they pored over it by lamplight. Tommy's words, yellowed but tender. "Live loud, Harlan. For us." Harlan showed up the next day, unannounced, tape in hand. "Burn it," he said gruffly. But Carter shook his head. Or watch it. With us. They did. In the apartment, 3 men on the couch. The parade a bridge across years. Laughter mixed with sobs. Harlan's hand finding Carter's. Liam's arm around them both. Healing wasn't linear, but in that moment, felt possible. Summer heat baked the streets. Festivals popping like fireworks. Pride in June, where Carter and Liam marched hand in hand. Harlan watching from the sidelines with Ellie, a rainbow pin on his lapel. Their love deepened in the blaze. Rooftop barbecues, bodies slick under fans, whispered futures, maybe a house in Pilsen. Adoption dreams danced around but not dismissed. Yet shadows lingered. Liam's doubts resurfaced in quiet moments, Mark's venom echoing. The climax brewed in August, a heat wave trapping Chicago in humidity. Carter's mural unveiling drew press, a Windy City Times feature on queer love in the loop, and Harlan came, suit crisp, pride swelling. But at the after-party in a Boys Town club, pulsing with bass and bodies, confrontation erupted. Mark, uninvited, crashed through the doors, drunk and deranged, ranting about abominations to a crowd that jeered him down. Liam faced him, protective fury blazing, but Mark lunged, a bottle shattering, glass slicing Liam's forearm. Chaos. Sirens. Stitches at Northwestern ER. Carter holding Liam's hand through it all, whispering, "I got you." Harlan arrived, face thunderous, pressing charges himself. "No one touches my boys," he growled to the cops. In the sterile wait, truths poured. Liam confessed the full weight of Mark's hold, years of gaslighting, the reason he'd fled Ohio. "You saved me, Car." Every day, Carter kissed his bandage. Fierce. "Then let's save each other." Fall foliage turned the drive to Starved Rock into a postcard of reds and golds. But the tension in the truck cab was thicker than the humid September air. Liam's arm throbbed under the fresh bandage, a dull reminder of Mark's ambush. And though the charges stuck, assault, trespassing, the real wound festered deeper. Carter gripped the wheel, eyes on the road winding through Illinois farmlands, cornstalks whispering secrets to the wind. "We can't keep pretending this shit doesn't touch us," he said finally, voice low over the hum of the engine. Liam stared out the window, fingers drumming the sill. "What? Like therapy? Groups? I'm fine, Car. It's just a scratch." But it wasn't. The club incident had cracked something open. Mark's slurs burrowing like ticks. Abomination. Redeemable. Echoing the doubts Liam buried under charm and cocktails. Back home, nights turned restless. Liam bolted awake from nightmares, sweat-soaked, muttering apologies to ghosts. Carter held him through it, bodies entwined in the dark. But sex felt like patching a leak with tape, urgent, temporary. Harlan called daily now, his gruff check-ins a lifeline. "How's the boy? Tell him the Bears need him for tailgate." It was his way of saying, "I'm here," the old man thawing like spring ice. The high point came mid-October, a surprise weekend in Door County, Wisconsin, cheesy as a Green Bay Packers jersey. But Liam's idea, a reset. They rented a cabin on the bay, wood smoke scented, with a dock jutting into Lake Michigan's northern arm. Days blurred into hikes through maple groves, leaves crunching under boots, picnics of brie and baguettes where Liam sketched Carter in charcoal. My muse, all sharp lines and soft edges. Nights were firelit, stories swapped over bourbon. Liam opening up about foster care Christmases, empty stockings and rotating dads. Carter confessing the terror of his first grinder hookup, post coming out, when vulnerability felt like a loaded gun. One evening, as sunset bled orange across the water, Liam dropped to one knee on the dock, not with a ring, but a weathered Polaroid of them from Pride, edges curled. "Marry me?" he asked, grin crooked. "Not legal yet everywhere, but fuck it, let's vow anyway." Tears stung Carter's eyes. He pulled Liam up, kissing him breathless, the yes a vow sealed with salt air and promise. They ceremonied it themselves that night, naked under quilts, rings imagined on fingers, bodies moving in rhythm like waves against shore. It was sacred, profane, the kind of love that American dreams were built on but rarely admitted. Two men claiming forever in a world that still sometimes said no. Reality crashed back with November's chill. Harlan's health scare, a mild heart attack, brought on by stress and smokes, landed him in Advocate Christ, monitors beeping like accusations. Carter rushed to the bedside, Liam in tow, the sterile hall smelling of antiseptic and fear. Harlan looked small under the sheets, oxygen mask fogging with each breath. "Knew you'd come," he rasped when they entered, eyes flicking to Liam with something like approval. Ellie hovered, wringing her hands. "Doc says it's the ticker, needs to slow down. Quit the bottle." The vigil stretched days. Carter sketching by the window, Liam fetching coffees, Harlan dozing in fits. In quiet moments, confessions flowed. "That video," Harlan wheezed one afternoon, tubes snaking his arms, "wasn't just Tommy. It was me, scared shitless of losing everything. Job, family, you." Carter squeezed his hand, the one that had once spanked disobedience away. "You didn't lose me, Dad. But you almost did, pushing so hard." Harlan nodded, tears slipping. "Proud of your fight, son." And him, a nod to Liam, snoring in the chair. "He's a keeper. Better'n me." Discharge brought Harlan home, the family rallying with casseroles and home health aides. Carter and Liam moved in temporarily, turning the guest room into a command center. Meals prepped, meds sorted, late-night talks in the kitchen over decaf. It was domesticity amplified, Harlan's grumbles masking gratitude. "Pass the salt, fairy son." Laughter bubbled, tentative, healing the fractures. One night, post-bedtime, Harlan pulled out a box from the attic, Tommy's relics. Letters, a mixtape of the Smiths and Bronski beat. "Listen with me?" he asked Liam, voice gruff. They did, vinyl crackling on the old turntable, Harlan's foot tapping to Small-Town Boy. "He got me through the dark," Harlan said. "Like you do for Carter," but betrayal's echo lingered. Mark's trial loomed, December court date, misdemeanor but messy. Liam testified first, voice steady on the stand. "He called us abominations." Then he swung. The judge nodded, sentencing light, probation, anger management, but Mark's glare from the defense table chilled Carter. Promise of unfinished business. Post-hearing, over beers at a dive near the courthouse, Liam broke. "What if he's right? What if I'm poison?" Carter slammed his glass down. "Bullshit. You're my antidote." But doubt seeded, sprouting in small ways. Liam canceling date nights for shifts, phone angled away. The holidays amplified it. Ellie's first anniversary party, a cozy affair at her in-laws in Oak Park. Harlan arrived with a +1, surprising, a widow from his AA group, silver-haired and sharp-tongued, Evelyn. "Met her at meetings," he shrugged, but his eyes softened when she laughed at his jokes. Carter beamed, toasting them. But the joy soured when Mark's sister cornered Liam in the foyer. He's changed. Give him a chance, voicemails escalating to texts. We were real once. This city's killing you. Carter found out by accident. Phone left on the charger. Notifications pinging. Rage boiled. Not just the contact, but the hiding. How long? He demanded that night, snow pelting the windows like accusations. Liam deflated. Since the attack. He says it's amends, but it's manipulation. I block. He proxies. The fight exploded. Words like shrapnel, liar, user. Why can't you cut clean? Carter stormed out, crashing at a friend's in Ukrainian village. The lumpy couch a poor substitute for their bed. Days blurred into radio silence. Carter burying in work. A book cover for a queer memoir. Ironic therapy while Liam drowned shifts in whiskey sours. Reconciliation came circuitously, via Harlan. A call at dawn. Your boy's here. 3 sheets to the wind. Spilling guts about losing you. Get your ass over. Carter arrived to find Liam slumped at the kitchen table. Harlan brewing coffee like a drill sergeant. Talk, Harlan ordered, pouring mugs. Liam's apology poured out raw, unfiltered. I thought I was strong, but Mark's got hooks. You pull me free. Carter softened, hand over Liam's. Then let me. No more solos. Harlan cleared his throat. Learned that the hard way. Tommy begged me to leave the closet. I stayed peeking. Don't repeat my sins. Forgiveness wasn't a switch flip, but a dimmer, slow brighten. They rebuilt with intention. Couples counseling at Howard Brown, where a no-nonsense therapist unpacked Liam's trauma knots. Carter's resentment webs. Dates recommitted. Improv shows at IO, where laughter dissolved walls. Drives to Indiana dunes. Sand between toes. Making love in the truck bed under stars. Harlan joined a PFLAG chapter. Evelyn on his arm. Sending group texts of meetings, old dogs. New tricks. Christmas that year was at their apartment. Tree trimmed with DIY ornaments, Carter sketches. Liam's bottle cap garland. Harlan carving ham. Evelyn's pies steaming. Gifts exchanged, Harlan giving Liam a Cubs jersey. For the family fan, toasts to second chances. But drama crested New Year's Eve. A bash at the coffee shop where Carter's mural gleamed under disco lights. The crowd swelled. Queers in glitter. Allies in flannel, champagne popping like gunfire. Liam, behind a pop-up bar. Mixed drinks with flair. But Mark's shadow loomed. A letter delivered via courier that afternoon, pleading one last talk. For closure. Liam burned it in the sink, but the ash clung. As midnight neared, countdown building, Carter pulled him to the dance floor, bodies swaying to Chapel Roan. This year, Carter murmured, we fight together. Fireworks burst outside, but inside, Mark burst through the door. Sober facade cracking, eyes wild. Liam, the room hushed, then erupted bouncers moving, but not before Mark lunged. Words venom, you're throwing away salvation. Liam stepped forward, voice steel. Salvation's right here. Carter flanked him. Harlan, yes, Harlan, who'd tagged along, bellowing back off. You bully. From the sidelines. It took 3 to restrain Mark. Cops called. But the night didn't shatter. It solidified. As Auld Lang Syne played, Liam kissed Carter deep, the crowd cheering their defiance. Winter thawed into tentative spring, but the undercurrent pulled. Liam's doubts morphed into action. Applying to bartending school full-time, cutting Mark off cold with a restraining order. Carter's book cover landed him an agent. Whispers of gallery shows. Harlan proposed to Evelyn in April. A quiet courthouse thing, inviting Carter and Liam as witnesses. Full circle, he said, signing papers, Tommy's photo tucked in his wallet like a talisman. Yet, the deepest conflict brewed in silence. Liam's secret, buried since Ohio. One rainy May evening, post-gallery opening where Carter's pieces sold, intertwined shadows, abstracts of lovers in strife, they celebrated with rooftop wine. Liam's face crumpled mid-toast. I gotta tell you something. Before we go further, Carter's stomach dropped. The video, Harlan's. I didn't just help Jenna digitize. I found it first, last year. When I stayed over after our fight about my pulling away, thought if I showed him, forced the issue, he'd accept us. But I chickened, hid it, let her discover it at Christmas. Betrayed you twice. The rain pattered harder, mirroring the storm in Carter's chest. Why now? Liam's eyes pleaded. Because love's not hiding. And I'm done. Carter paced the wet gravel, hurt warring with understanding, the same fear that chained Harlan. Now Liam's cross. It hurts, he admitted, stopping to face him. But you're here. Fighting. The kiss that followed was drenched, desperate, leading to bed where forgiveness was etched in skin. Slow thrusts, a contact unbroken, climaxes shared like sacraments. Summer solstice brought the high tide of their story, a commitment ceremony in Harlan's backyard, under that old oak, not marriage, but a vow exchange. Friends and family circled. Carter in linen shirt, Liam in vest and jeans, rings simple silver bands engraved live loud. Harlan officiated, voice cracking, I stand here, a reformed fool, to bless what I once cursed. Vows poured, Carter's, you saw me when I was invisible. Liam's, you pulled me from the dark. The kiss sealed it, cheers rising, Evelyn's cake cut under stars. But climax demands fall weeks later. A call from Ohio Mark. Suicide attempt. Liam's name on his lips. Guilt crashed. Liam spiraling into, what if I could have saved him? Carter held the line. Therapy intensives. Harlan's wisdom. You can't save 'em all, son. Just the ones worth it. The crisis peaked in a midnight drive to Dayton. Liam confronting Mark's sister at the hospital. Boundaries drawn. Amends rejected. He's not your ghost anymore, Carter said on the return. Hand on thigh. Autumn winds stripped the trees bare as quickly as hope could rebuild, leaving Carter and Liam exposed in ways neither anticipated. The Ohio trip had been an exorcism of sorts. Liam emerging hollow-eyed but resolute. Mark stabilized in psych ward. The restraining order ironclad. Back in Chicago, the city felt renewed. Skyline sharp against October skies. State Street buzzing with Halloween haunts. Their commitment rings glinted like talismans. A constant rub against skin reminding them of the vows whispered under the oak, through shadows and storms. Carter threw himself into a solo exhibit at a West Loop gallery. Fractured lights, pieces born from the chaos. Shattered prisms refracting queer silhouettes, colors bleeding into redemption. Liam, meanwhile, aced his bartending certs, landing a gig as mixologist at a Lincoln Park speakeasy. Craft elixirs with names like Ghostbuster and Second Chance Sour. Harlan's influence lingered. The old man dropped bi-weekly, Evelyn in tow, critiquing drinks with faux expert grunts. Needs more bite. Like a good scotch. It was family, renit, but threads frayed under weight. Liam's nightmares persisted, Mark's face morphing into Tommy's, Harlan's, his own a carousel of what-ifs. Counseling helped, but intimacy stuttered, touches hesitant, beds shared but bodies distant, as if fear had erected invisible walls. The first real fracture came mid-November, echoes of that fateful Thanksgiving. Ellie's twins arrived. Twins. Tiny bundles swaddled in bears' onesies. The family converging on the hospital in a whirlwind of balloons and bad coffee. Harlan glowed, a grandfather reborn, cradling the boy with trembling hands. Look at Carr, your legacy. The words landed soft, but Carter felt the pang. No kids for them. Not yet. Biology's cruel gatekeeping. Liam joked later, over diner pancakes, adopt a litter of mutts first. But his laugh rang hollow, eyes distant. That distance widened over turkey leftovers, when Harlan pulled Carter aside in the hospital lounge. Liam's good people, but he's carryin' heavy. Seen it in fellas from the war. Carter bristled. Not your call, Dad, but the seed took root. Doubts crept. Was Liam pulling away again? The phone silences. The late shifts. One night, post-exhibit opening where champagne flowed and critics cooed. Carter confronted him in their kitchen, rain lashing windows like judgment. Talk to me. Is it Mark? Us? Liam leaned against the counter, ring twisting on his finger. It's everything. The ceremony was perfect. But what if I'm not enough? What if I drag you down like I did him? The confession cracked open the vault. Liam's full backstory. Unvarnished. Foster kid bounced between homes. A teen romance with Mark that started sweet but soured into control. Beatings hidden under long sleeves. He made me feel like love was a debt, Liam whispered, voice breaking. And sometimes, with you, I wait for the bill. Carter pulled him close, hearts hammering in sync. No debts. Just us. They made love then, urgent and unveiling, Liam on top, eyes locked, thrusts deliberate, each gasp a release of chained fears. Climax came shared, bodies shuddering, aftershocks lingering like afterglow promises. Winter gripped tight, but warmth bloomed in pockets. A New Year's cabin getaway to Upper Michigan, snowshoeing through pine forests, fucking by the fireplace to the crackle of logs. Harlan's birthday bash, low-key at a brewpub, Evelyn's trivia team dominating, saw him gift Liam a leather-bound journal. For your stories, kid. Tommy kept one. Saved my ass. Liam teared up, hugging the old man fierce. Progress. Palpable. Yet, betrayal specter returned with spring thaw. Jenna, ever the archivist, unearthed more from the family Dropbox. Not just Tommy's letters, but Harlan's, dozens, unsent, poured out in '92 after the funeral. I love you still, but fear's louder. Forgive me for running. She digitized them innocently, sharing the link in a group chat. Carter read them first, gut punched by the raw ache mirroring his own doubts. But Liam saw them next, alone on a shift break, the words triggering a cascade. Harlan ran from love. Am I running too? He didn't tell Carter, not at first. Instead, impulsivity struck. Liam drove to Harlan's unannounced, confronting him in the garage over engine grease and regret. You wrote those? And never sent. Harlan wiped his hands, face crumpling. Thought it was mercy. Spare him the pain. The argument escalated, Liam accusing, you taught me to hide. Ending in shouts that Ellie broke up, tears streaming. Word reached Carter via panicked call. Liam's losing it. Come quick. He arrived to chaos. Liam pacing the driveway. Harlan slumped on the porch steps. Evelyn mediating with tea. He thinks I'm like you, Liam spat when Carter pulled him aside. Burying shit till it rots. The truth tumbled. The letters. The trigger. Liam's fear of becoming the ghost haunter. Carter's anger flared. Not at the outburst, but the secrecy. Again? We vowed no solos. He stormed to the car. Liam following. The drive home a minefield of silences broken by sobs. They parked curbside, rain sluicing windshields, and the fight detonated. Accusations flying, untrusting, selfish. Why can't you let me in? Liam's retort cut deepest. Because you're perfect? Car. The artist. The fixer. I'm the fuck-up who'll taint it. Carter recoiled. Words a slap. Then go. If that's what you believe. Liam did. Grabbing a bag. Crashing at a coworker's. Days blurred into agony. Carter sketching furious abstracts. Black ink's bleeding rage. Texts unanswered. Voicemails pleading. Harlan mediated. Uncharacteristically tender. Showing up at the apartment with pie and plain talk. I ran once. Lost the best part of me. Don't let pride steal yours. Ellie chimed in via video. Twins gurgling backdrop. Liam's a mess too. Drunk dials me about missing your laugh. The nudge propelled Carter to the speakeasy. Closing time, where Liam wiped counters like penance. I read the letters, Carter said, sliding onto a stool. All of them. And I get it, fear's a bastard. But running, that's the real taint. Liam's pour faltered. Whiskey splashing. I thought space would fix me. Carter reached across. Fingers lacing. Fix us. Together. The bar's dim lights haloed them. Patrons gone. As Liam rounded the counter, pulling Carter into a kiss that tasted of bourbon and breakthrough. Slow. Deepening. Hands fisting shirts. They locked up hasty, tumbling into the alley where it started years ago. Rain mingling with urgency against brick. It was reclaiming. Knees to gravel. Zippers rasped. Liam's mouth hot and forgiving. Carter's gasps echoing off walls. Release came fierce. Knees buckling. Laughter bubbling through tears. Reentry was tentative. Therapy doubled. Boundaries redrawn. No solo digs into family ghosts. Summer festivals healed further. Pitchfork, where they danced mudslick to Janelle Monáe. Harlan tagging along for the folk stage. Evelyn two-stepping. Liam's journal filled. Recipes laced with stories. A catharsis Carter illustrated. Their collab a zine self-published at Kinko's. But climax loomed larger. A storm front in August heat. Mark's release from psych hold. Early. Good behavior. Brought a letter. Not to Liam. But Carter, he's mine. Always will be. Ask about the tattoo. Curiosity. That old devil. 1. Carter confronted. Gentle over dinner. Liam's face drained. A faded M. Inked on his hip from age 19. Covered now but scar tissue deep. Youthful stupidity, he muttered. Erased it years ago. But the vulnerability cracked another layer. Mark's hold not just emotional, but branded. The fight was seismic. Carter accusing erasure of him. Not just Mark. Liam defending his history. Not present. Doors slammed. Bags half-packed. Harlan, sensing via Ellie's intel, intervened with a family summit backyard fire pit. Esmores masking gravity. We all got ink we regret, he said, rolling his sleeve to reveal a faded USMC from Nam. Tommy's initials scratched beneath. But it don't define the man. Evelyn nodded, sharing her own widow's grief. Liam broke first, tattoo exposed under firelight, Carter tracing it not with anger, but ache. "It's yours now," Liam whispered. "Ours." Forgiveness forged in flames. That night, homebound, they inked over it. A small arrow, rainbow faded, matching Carter's. The needle's buzz was mantra, paint a perch. Post parlor, bodies hummed, leading to bed where touch was reverent, fingers outlining new marks, mouths worshipping scars, unions slow and profound, climaxes whispered vows renewed. Fall brought bounty. Carter's exhibit toured to Milwaukee, Liam promoted to manager. Harlan and Evelyn's honeymoon, Vegas. Kitschy as hell sent postcards of drag shows. But the arc bent toward crescendo. Thanksgiving redux. Harlan hosting. Menu expanded with Evelyn's lax. Toast circled to twins, to ink, to loves reclaimed. Yet, as plates cleared, a package arrived. Tommy's final letter, forwarded from estate lawyers, addressed to Harlan care of Carter. He read it aloud, voice steady. "If this reaches you, know I waited. But live, Harlan, love without chains." The room stilled, tears collective. Liam squeezed Carter's thigh under table. Their code, evolved. "To living loud," Harlan rasped, raising glass. Winter whispered warnings, but they pressed on. Holiday markets, ice skating at Millennium Park, gloved hands linked. New Year's dawned with resolve, but betrayal's final twist waited in January frost. Liam's ex-boss, jealous of his rise, leaked old security footage from the Boys Town Club, grainy clip of the Mark fight, twisted caption, "Gay bar brawl, who's the real villain?" It went viral on X. Bigots piling on, death threats pinging Liam's DMs. Panic surged. Liam spiraled, quitting shifts. Carter fielded press, shielding. Harlan rallied, PFLAG statement, counterposts with Evelyn's wit. The storm peaked at a rally downtown, snow flurrying. Where they spoke, Liam's voice amplified, "Hate hides, but love endures." Cheers thundered, but privately, exhaustion cracked. Liam collapsing post-speech, anxiety attack felling him in Carter's arms. Hospital again, benzos, breathing exercises, but the scare crystallized. They needed more. A move proposed to San Francisco. Carter's dream gig at a queer arts collective. Liam scouting bar ops in the Castro. Harlan blessed it tearfully. "Go chase your parade, boys." The U-Haul rumbled west like a metal beast, stuffed with boxes of sketches, cocktail shakers, and ghosts finally packed away. February's bite nipped at the rearview as Carter and Liam crossed the plains. Playlists shuffling from Wilco to the Weather Girls. Pit stops at diners where waitresses winked at their rings. San Francisco welcomed with fog-kissed hills and rainbow crosswalks. The Castro's pulse syncing with their own, billboards for Folsom Street fare. Coffee shops slinging matcha lattes to leather daddies. Their new place. A sunny Victorian flat in No Valley. Views of the bay. Rent steep but dreams steeper. Unpacking unearthed treasures. Harlan's journal gift. Now dog-eared with Liam's entries. Carter's Fractured Lights catalog. Signed to My Anchor. First night. Boxes half opened. They christened the space, mattress on floor. Takeout dim sum forgotten. Bodies arching under string lights. It was home. Raw and radiant. Love's geometry realigning. Liam landed at a supper club in the Mission. Infusing menus with Midwestern twists. Chicago dog martini. A nod to roots. Carter dove into the collective. Murals blooming on community walls. Intertwined figures marching forward, shadows yielding to light. Harlan visited in spring. Evelyn too, the four of them cable car hopping. Alcatraz tours laced with Tommy tales. This city's got ghosts, Harlan mused atop Twin Peaks. Wind whipping. But yours are friendly. Pride weekend sealed it, the 88 parade route retraced. Harlan marching arm in arm. Bullhorn traded for a sign. Proud dad of two amazing gays. The crowd's roar drowned doubts. Confetti like absolution. Yet, humanity's arc demands shadow. Liam's past resurfaced in June. A call from Ohio Mark. Released fully. Seeking contact via lawyer. Therapy breakthrough wants apology. Liam's hand shook reading it, but he forwarded to Carter. Your call. Together, they drafted no contact. Firm. Final. Then burned the printout in a backyard fire pit. Ashes to wind. No more debts, Liam said. Ring glinting. Carter's exhibit at SFMOMA affiliate drew raves. But critique stung. One reviewer calling his work sentimental queer nostalgia. It triggered old insecurities. Am I just doodling pain? Nights spent pacing, sketchpad blank. Liam countered with tough love. Your pain's poetry. Own it. A joint session with their long-distance therapist unpacked it, emerging with a collab piece. Liam's words scripted into Carter's canvas. Love's ink, scars to stories. Summer solstice brought Harlan's scare redux. Gallstones. Surgery swift, but distance amplified fear. Video calls bridged. Twins' first steps. Ellie's promotions. Recovery. He confessed more. A 90s affair. Brief. With a coworker. Buried deeper than Tommy. Thought it proved I was broken. Liam's response. Wise beyond. Nah. Just human. The vulnerability bonded them triply. A chosen family forged. Fall deepened roots. Adoption seminars at Open Adoption Project. Dreams voiced. A kid with your eyes. My laugh. Not rushed, but real. Liam's club hosted queer open mics. Carter emceeing. Harlan zooming applause from Chicago. Betrayal's last echo faded when Mark's sister wrote. He's moved on. Sorry for the pain. Closure unasked but granted. Climax crested Thanksgiving. Cross-country flight. Harlan's table expanded. Evelyn's kin. Ellie's crew. Carter and Liam as North Stars. Turkey carved. Toasts layered to health, to history. But post-feast, in the den, Harlan pulled a final relic, a Super 8 reel, Tommy's gift, home movie of their 88 pride, candid laughs amid March. For you boys, he said, projector whirring. Footage danced. Young Harlan twirling Tommy, kisses stolen, pure joy. Tears flowed, but joy too, Liam's arm around Carter, Harlan's hand on his knee. The revelation, not shock, but catharsis, Harlan's full arc laid bare. No more vaults. I mock to mask, he admitted. But you live it true. Hugs lingered, the room a cocoon of mended hearts. Back in SF, winter rains nourished. A book deal for Carter's art-tied memoir. Drawn to You, Liam's pop-up bar tour, Midwest in the Mission. New Year's on Baker Beach, waves crashing. They renewed vows, fireworks over Golden Gate, bodies warmed by bonfire, love ablaze unquenched. Yet, the human coda, in March, Harlan's cough turned cough. Diagnosis. Early lung cancer, treatable but tenacious. The call shattered. Flights booked frantic. Chemo cycles blurred. Carter sketching bedside. Liam mixing immunity elixirs. Evelyn steel-spined. Harlan fought feisty. Quipping through infusions, beats numb, remission whispered by summer, but lessons etched, fragility's gift, love's urgency. Their story closed not with fanfare, but quiet grace. Anniversary hike in Muir Woods, redwoods towering like sentinels. Liam proposed formally. Rings upgraded, knees bent on fern floor. Forever, car, yes, sealed with fog-damp kiss. Harlan officiated the legal wedding in fall. Chicago courthouse, twins flower bearers. Vows echoed originals, but seasoned, through betrayals and breakthroughs. I choose you. Epilogue unfurled in years weave. Twins visited SF. Sleepovers in the flat. Adoption papers signed for a boy from Oakland foster. Eyes like Liam's. Harlan retired to Florida with Evelyn. Weekly Zooms trading recipes and roasts. Carter's gallery thrived. Liam's bar a Castro staple. Riley's redemption, nod to roots. In the end, it was human, messy, luminous. Love, once mocked, now monument, a video not of shock, but sustenance, playing on loop in hearts mended. Carter and Liam, graying but grinning, danced at Pride 45, Harlan's spirit in the roar. For in America's vast tapestry, their thread gay, gritty, unbroken wove the pattern whole.